Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here, and I am glad to be here. Several years ago, I had dinner at a great offer of a friend with Warren Buffett. And in that meeting, I took copious notes, but three things that were emblazoned in my brain since that momentous time was when he responded to what were the three critical things that allowed him to be so successful. He said, number one, I can walk into a business and I can see things that other people can't see. I can see a plan and a path. I don't understand why they can't see it. I can just see it. Number two, I'm a cheerleader. You know, he had 60 of his 61, at that time, of the companies that he had purchased, 60 of the 61 had the founder still working in the company. And what he told them was, that if you allow me to buy your business, I will put it into the National Museum of Art. And you can come in and paint in your company every day and continue to lead it. He said, but if you let somebody else buy that business, they're probably going to put it into a pawn shop. Where do you want it to go? It's a great close, isn't it? Okay. Well, you know, and the third thing was he was born in this country. So those three things, first of all, he can feel it, he could see it. It was his unique ability. He could see things that other people couldn't see, or he could see things that other people saw, but think what nobody else thought. All right, and then he saw a path to carry it out. Let's focus in on that number one. You know, if I could replace the word leadership, I've talked to you about this before, I would replace it with the word influence. Influence. And if that's the case, then a guy that's selling pencils is an influencer. Anybody, and all of us are influencers. It's a matter of, are we just regular influencers or are we great influencers? And great leaders are great influencers. Great leaders, you know, because of their influence, they inspire greater opportunities and attract even greater relationships. In the book, 4 Disciplines of Execution, this is written by 3 senior officers of Covey and Company, Franklin Covey. Okay, they work with thousands of companies around the world. And one of the things that they've asked these companies is, which do you struggle with more? Is it creating a strategy or executing that strategy? And almost 100% of the time they say execution. So they say in this book that they're convinced that the 2 principal things a leader can influence when it comes to producing results is a plan and how you execute the plan. And we just heard from that study that most leaders are focusing on the plan and are a little bit lost on how to execute the plan. Well, let me share with you just a couple of indicators that they talk about. They call them measurements. I've always called them indicators. And this book was given to me, by the way, by Ryan Newman, a great entrepreneur that I have the opportunity to coach. And I just want to thank him for turning me on to this. He said it was something that's helped him a lot and reminded him a little bit of the coaching we've been doing. But, you know, when I look at this and as I read it, they talk about measurements. They talk about you've got to have that bigger vision, that vision that expands, what I call a ginormous, empowering milestone. You know, so a gem, a ginormous, empowering milestone. They call it a WIG, or what they call wildly important goal. I like milestones, you know that. But great leaders know how to use their influence to inspire, really, a visionary plan. Great leaders then know how to execute on that plan. And so if you think about having a plan and executing a plan, one of the things that they talked about were leading indicators and lagging indicators. They called them measurements, leading measurements and lagging measurements. Lagging measurements are very simple. If I'm a pilot and I've got gauges, those gauges that just tell me that I have 0 altitude just told me that I crashed, that's a lagging indicator. The financial reports that we get from our accountant is a lagging indicator. We can't do anything about what happened yesterday. It's just telling us what has happened. Very difficult to make decisions that way and to achieve greater results. Leading indicators are all the little steps that we can take. So a leading indicator, if I stand on the scale, If I have a vision of losing so much weight and I stand on the scale and look at the numbers, that's a lagging indicator. But if I have a plan that's laid out by I'm going to eat just so many calories a day, I'm going to expend this many calories a day, I'm not going to eat past 8 o'clock, and if I follow that and check it off and score it, those are leading indicators. And you can find leading indicators for any worthy lagging indicator. A lagging indicator is going to tell us what we've done. Get your gem, find your lagging indicator, and then get your leading indicators. I'm going to challenge you to do that. You know, one of my leading indicators, our gem is empowered wealth, is to make every family. Our goal is to strengthen and empower the leaders in every family so that they can influence others. In other words, family leaders influencing other family leaders that influence businesses and communities. It's what we do. That's a gem for us. We're driven by that. Well, I come back to every day then. What do I do every morning? I've talked to you about this before. You've seen this book before. This is my empowering journal. And this empowering journal, the time that I spend in the morning, my morning routine and working through this, my PMED, prayer, meditation, exercise, and diet. And I have a place right in here where I can score that every day. There are little check marks up here. And I can score what I've done and take the time. And here, this is really, I should call this my leading indicator book. Because if I follow this every single day, how I've laid it out, where I go and begin in gratitude, identify my 3 essential things that are going to move me closer to my gem, and then I talk about who am I meeting with today, what do I know and appreciate about them, what do I want them to know, how do I want them to feel, and what do I want them to do, and then my empowering question, and then I have similar questions for the night. Those are leading indicators. What are your leading indicators? Find your gem, your ginormous, gigantic, empowered milestone. It's bigger than everything. And then ask yourself, what are those leading indicators that if I'll do these on a repeatable basis, I've got a higher probability, more predictability that I'm actually going to achieve it. I love Meaningful Mondays because I learn the most, but I love sharing with you and love to hear your stories. So please take a moment and share with me your gem, and then talk to me about leading indicators. I'll talk to you next week. I look forward to talking to you next Monday. Bye-bye.